Hey everybody, welcome back to the couch for episode 15, week 15, day 200 and something of COVID living. I hope you guys are doing well. I had a good week. I had a real good week. I had a birthday over the last week, and that was fantastic. I turned 37. 37. It's not that important to me, the number. I don't fear aging the way I think we're supposed to, and I don't even feel the way about it that a lot of other people do. I quite like it. I feel like I'm aging into certain elements of my personality, and I feel like I'm aging out of stuff that I'm happy to age out of. I think so much of learning stuff and becoming the kind of person you want to be is just about time and letting time do its work, and I'm racking up my time, and that feels good. On the other hand, I am trying to make it as a musician, so if anybody asks, I'm 24. And I dye part of my beard gray because it's performance art. I'm a 24-year-old playing a folk singer approaching his 40s. Fortunately, many of my heroes either died young or stayed really good well into what we might consider old age. So there's, once you decide you don't want to die young, which I decided eventually, it took some time, but I got there. It's nice to have inspiration for people in their 50s and 60s and 70s. I mean, Springsteen looks like he's getting ready to drop a pretty good record here. And he's 70 something, I think. I'm real excited about that. A bunch of really good records came out last week that we'll talk about. Also, I put out a record last week. I put out a live record. It's called Hey Everybody Live from Nowhere Volume 1. And it is a collection of the first 12 episodes of this very podcast. It's those stories and those songs. And it's a trip to put out a live record that you recorded at home without a crowd through a video camera. But about 10 weeks in, I sort of had the idea to maybe release that, and I started listening back to stuff and feeling pretty good about it. You know, it's got its rough edges for sure, but anybody who has watched this podcast or has been in a studio with me or has been to a show knows that, like, I'm not afraid of the rough edges. I think the rough edges are where your personality kind of lives. I think you could get 5 songwriters to sit on this couch and introduce a song and then play the song, and they'd probably all have their variations and their differences, but it would be in their little idiosyncrasies and even in their mistakes that, like, they really start to separate from each other. Now, why those people would be in my house, sitting on my couch, I don't know. And I frankly prefer it didn't go down. But, you know, if it did, that's how it would go. What else happened last week? Oh, Sturgill Simpson, the man, the myth, the legend. He released a record last week as well that I quite like. It's called Cuttin' Grass, and it's his bluegrass record. And he made the bluegrass record because, as I understand it, he released like a t-shirt, and he said, if we can sell this many t-shirts, we'll give all the money to charity, and if we hit this number, I'll make a bluegrass record. Because he started out in bluegrass. He's a Kentucky fella, and a lot of people are always saying, like, when are you going to do another bluegrass record? Myself included. I like his records, but I really have been wanting him to do a bluegrass record. So he said he would if he hit this number, and they just annihilated that goal. In part because I think it was a good cause, in part because people love Sturgill Simpson, and in part because they wanted him to do this bluegrass record. So he did, and by all accounts, it's very good. I pre-ordered the vinyl, and usually when I do that, I like to wait to listen to it until it gets here. And he's totally independent now. He's off his label, which I think is cool and will be interesting to see. I think he's a bit of a pioneer, thankfully, in the way he approaches the industry and the, you know, the networking and the deals. Ugh, what a disgusting bit of vocabulary. Networking, yikes. Uh, or like when people say, we should get together. I don't want to do that. I have nothing to offer you, and you have nothing I want. Let's not. But I'm very excited to hear this record and to see the way he's doing it and how he did it, and that's neat. And of course, there were people that had problems, as there always are. I'll never really understand that, I don't think. I understand it less and less as I get older, and I realize more and more that, like, our time is limited here. And let's say, even in the best of circumstances, I'm well past a third of my life. It's likely that in the average circumstance, I'm getting pretty close to the middle. And I can't imagine a world where you spend any of that time complaining about something. Like, either participate and partake in the thing, or dislike the thing and don't be a part of it. You know, I'll never understand it. It's one of my secret, not so secret, but one of my much smaller frustrations with, like, racism and homophobia and sexism and that kind of stuff. That, like, obviously I have the big frustrations that you know, you're treating people poorly and they deserve a fair shake and you know, all that kind of stuff. But kind of quietly in my mind, I have this little voice going like, that's really how you chose to spend your time here, in a world of, like, in a world of music and food and art and nature and pretty girls and handsome dudes and all this stuff. Like, you've decided to devote any of your time to hate, and it's just it really kind of taxes my brain, because I'm of the nature to try to understand. You know, if someone says something, I don't try to agree with it. I try to figure out, like, why they said that. And that often makes it easier to disagree with them. If you understand where they're coming from, you can sort of get into it with them. But that kind of stuff, I just can't figure it out. It really, to me, presents like a sickness that, like, certainly a sane person wouldn't choose this. If only because there's better things they could be doing, you know? Like, the idea that there are people in this world that haven't seen the Grand Canyon or Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and they're spending their time not crossing those things off the list and instead doing something hateful and bad. I just don't get it. And that kind of informs my feelings about negative reviews or complaining about how someone does a record. Like, just don't listen to that record. You know, there's tons of records for you to listen to. And, you know, if you like bad music so much, I hear Five Finger Death Punch is still doing things. That band is the worst. We played a show once, and it was not going well. It was at a kind of bizarre venue in a bizarre circumstance for a bizarre crowd that had not chosen to see us. And it wasn't going well. And my nature in those situations is to often get a little bit combative. Not combative, but just like, if it's going bad, let's just let it go bad and see how that turns out. So I'm trying to make conversation with the crowd in between songs. And there was this guy that just, like, he was aggressively not paying attention to us. And I know my music is not everyone's cup of tea, and that's totally fine, but, like, he was sort of making a show of the fact that he wasn't listening. So I said, so you're not digging it, huh, dude? And that right there just kind of, like, puts the whole room on alert, because they don't know how I'm going to react to him agreeing that, like, no, he does not like my band. And he goes, oh, it's just not my thing. And I said, oh, what kind of music do you like? And he's wearing a Five Finger Death Punch t-shirt. And he goes, I like metal. And I go, no, you don't. You like angry frat boy meets dad rock, barely veiled racist crap. I know a lot of the crowd that watches this podcast doesn't know who Five Finger Death Punch is, but you'll agree with me. Look into it. Trust me. So yeah, that's that. Let's have some coffee. In my brand new Tom Petty mug, You Belong Among the Wildflowers, courtesy of my dear friend Lori, who sent it to me for my birthday. It arrived the day before my copy of the Wildflowers reissue, which is wonderful. If you guys haven't heard, Tom Petty, his estate, and the Heartbreakers, they all kind of teamed up to finally release this wonderfully expansive version of Wildflowers. I got the 9 LP version. It's quite long and well worth it. There's a couple things on there that are sort of tragically underheard. Particularly, he has a song called Girl on LSD, which is wonderful and shows a side of Tom Petty that you don't often get to see, which is his kind of funny, very Dylan-esque side. And I'm very happy to have that. I'm very happy to have this mug, so thank you, Lori. And with this mug, my mug cupboard is at maximum capacity. Tori and I were talking about maybe going through and getting rid of some of the boring ones, because we have like plain black ones, and at this point, like I said, life is too short for a plain mug. Life is too short to dislike things, and life is too short to not play you guys a song right now. This song is called Plane Crash Dream Song, and it's a bit of historical fiction in that in the song I have a dream about a plane crash that is somewhat traumatizing to me personally, and then I go see a therapist to discuss the dream. The part about having that dream and waking up feeling quite shaken by it is true. The part where I have quick, easy, and affordable access to mental health care is obviously made up. This is America, after all. What I do have, though, is a few guitars, and I do my therapy there. For me, the real story of this song, though, is just that it exists at all. Because you will hear that it is a bit different from other songs that I do. It's what you might call a talking song. It's what I call a talking song. And you've probably heard a lot of people do these. Dylan has done them. I think Petty even did one. Johnny Cash did them. Towns, Prine. Even in the modern era, you know, Todd Snider does them. And I've always liked them, and I've always thought that would be cool. But secretly, I've kind of felt like I couldn't pull it off. You know, it's, to me, for some reason, it felt like a big, bold statement. Like, I'm the kind of guy that can do a talking song. So I put it off for years and years and years. And then one day, or one evening, one night, I actually had this dream. And I woke up just thinking about the dream all day. And the song just kind of came to me. And in my head, it was a talking song. And I finally just decided, like, if life is short, if we accept that, we should do the things we want to do. And if I do a talking song and someone doesn't like it, well, then to hell with them. You know? If someone thinks it's whatever, that's fine. Let them think it. I like this song, and it feels good to play. And of course, when I started playing it on stage, most people didn't even register to them that it was all that different than any other Christopher Gold song. So I guess I was too in my head about it. Tom Petty has a lyric that I quote a lot where he says, "Most things I worry about never happen anyway." And that has been true in my life as well. So I guess this song is about trying not to worry so much, trying to still be a force for good in the world. And I guess in a bigger way, it's just about, like, live your life, you know? If you want to wear a hat, You only have so many years to do it. Just put the hat on. You know? If you want to be the guy that wears a bow tie, put it on, man, because there's no bow ties in the afterlife, I bet. Wherever we go. I mean, maybe there are. I don't know. Who am I to say? Let's not make this a podcast about whether or not there are bow ties in heaven. But on the off chance that you can't just do whatever you want after you die, you should do what you want to now. And in the meantime, you know, try to help some people out along the way and take care of the world around you. So this is called Plane Crash Dream Song. I released it on an EP called Wilderness Years that came out digitally right before the pandemic, which means it did absolutely nothing, and most people haven't heard it. But it is around, and this song is on it, and I'll play it for you now. Well, last night I saw a plane crash in a dream. The pieces all fell down around you and me. It had me thinking about metaphors and what it all could mean. Had me thinking it couldn't be just a dream. So I went on down the road to maybe find a shrink, someone I could pay a couple bucks to tell me what it means. But he said, what's so strange about a dream where a plane succumbs to gravity? You know, you and me, we do it all the time. There are things that don't mean anything. Most things just mean nothing. So try not to let it weigh on your mind. So I said, Doc, I just don't think that you understand all the things that are troubling my head. There's political strife at home and abroad, and I'm worried about the economy, and I have questions about God. So many things to sort out in my mind. So who am I to let sleep just be sleep? And ain't it irresponsible for a dream to just be a dream? But he said, what's so strange about a dream where a plane succumbs to gravity? You know, you and me, we do it all the time. There are things that don't mean anything. Most things just mean nothing. So try not to let it weigh on your mind. So if you find yourself in bed just trying to sleep, but you're always kept awake by some bad dream about a plane that falls from the sky, raining wreckage down on you and I, just try to remember what that doctor said. 'Cause there ain't nothing strange about a dream where a plane succumbs to gravity. You know, you and me, we do it all the time. So go and make a change, so every day ain't more the same. But try to get some sleep at night, and try not to let it ruin your mind. All right. There's my talking song. I hope you liked it, and I'm trying real hard not to care if you didn't. All right, let's do our recommendations and get out of here. First recommendation, my wife and I, we woke up a little early today. We took a walk down to the fire station, and we cast our ballots in this upcoming election on November 3rd. Do that. Make sure you vote. In whatever way you're comfortable and confident, just make sure that you make your voice heard, and make sure that your voice isn't just speaking for you. I don't have a ton of money or a ton of worldly success or security, but the fact of the matter remains, I move through the world as a straight white dude in Wisconsin mostly. So I don't always need to be looking out for myself that much. There's enough going on that's bending in my favor. So if you find yourself in a similar boat, use your voice for people that aren't having as easy a ride as you, and I think you'll find that when their ride improves, yours will as well. A vote for affordable healthcare means you get affordable healthcare too. It's that simple. So get out there and vote. That's recommendation number 1. Recommendation number 2. This record is called Serpentine Prison by a gentleman named Matt Berninger. You might be familiar with Matt's work. He's the singer for a band called The National. It's very good. This is his first solo record, and one of the very notable things about it is that it was produced by Booker T of Booker T and the MG's fame, Mr. Booker T. Jones. He played with Otis Redding, and he was hugely responsible for the kind of Memphis Stax soul sound. And he brings that to this record. But it's also a Matt Berninger record, and he has a very distinct voice. And one of the things I love about his voice and these songs is that you know they're brand new, but they feel very lived in. I think you either want the immediacy of a brand new song that feels like it's brand new, or you want the comfort of something that feels like he's been singing it for a lifetime. And you'll find that on this record. And a lot of really interesting sounds and songs, and it's great. Check out Distant Axis or Collar of Your Shirt. And as always, there will be links below. Recommendation number 2. William Elliott Whitmore. This record is called I'm With You. I was a longtime fan of Mr. Whitmore, and several years ago, finally got the opportunity to play with him, and have played with him a handful of times since, and it's always been great. His crowd is always very kind to me, and he's wonderful, and it's been real nice getting to know him and his family, and it's been good. He just put this out on Friday. The Matt Berninger record came out on Friday as well, and these are difficult times to release a record, believe me, and really important time for you to support the records you like. And support them early too, because in the industry that matters. You know, labels check things like first week sales, and I wish that they didn't, and I wish records had time to blossom and exist. But this is the world we live in. So if something comes out that you like, snatch it up. And I was very happy to snatch this one up and add it to my existing Whitmore collection. It's great. He tries some new things. He hits some familiar things that I'm glad to hear. Check out Solar Flare or Save Ourselves, which I thought was really exciting. It's great. Check it out. Check them both out. I only recommend records to you guys if I feel comfortable recommending the whole thing. Like, I wouldn't recommend a record that just had a song or two on it. So get into those. Check out the live record if you want. I'll have a link to that as well. That, as always, you can pay what you want. Also, there's now an audio version of the podcast available, and I'll drop a link to that below too that you can download for free and listen to when you're out and about. People had asked for that, and I was very pleased that they would go out of their way to ask for that. The hosting of the audio version is still a little bit tricky in that I can't find a way to host it for free and keep them all available. So for now, we're just doing the most recent episodes will be available, and they'll live forever on YouTube. And I'll still make it sort of geared towards the visual format, where I show you guys records and perform songs for you guys and that kind of thing. Because otherwise I'm washing my hair for nothing. And what a waste that would be. All right. That ought to do it. And thank you guys for listening. Thank you all who reached out on my birthday. That was wonderful. I had a great day. I had a great year. I'm having a great life that is challenging and tricky at times, and can even hurt pretty bad at times. But if you zoom out far enough, you realize that if I zoom out far enough, I realize that I'm happy to be here, and I'm lucky to be with the people I'm with. So thanks for being a part of that. And if I get to be a part of that for you, I'm honored. In the meantime, be good, take care of yourself, take care of somebody else. Your vote is a phenomenal way to do that. And, remember, life is short. Do what you want. Write your talking song. Put on your bow tie. And treat people good. Someday we'll be gone. All right. I love you guys. We'll talk soon. Bye.